Hostile worlds, bad systems, cosmic mistakes, ordinary people caught in forces too large to fight. These aren't stories about heroes, they're stories about endurance and what breaks when technology outpaces wisdom. Strap in, check your air. This is Vicious Planets. The Prosecco Lotus by Morgan Olson. Vicious Planets, Season 0, Episode 8. Mira had been sorting shipments for 11 years, and she could feel when the numbers lied. She couldn't explain it to her supervisor. It wasn't a missing pallet. It wasn't a duplicate manifest. Arithmetic balanced on the screen and refused to balance in her stomach. A truck arrived full. The ledger showed it fuller. Grain left the district. The district reported no grain. Upstream, a light turned green. Downstream, a child did not eat. She had raised it once, only once. They had sent a compliance officer, a soft-voiced woman from the regional node, who explained that Mira was reading the data incorrectly. The system had been reviewed. The allocations were harmonized. Losses were inside the devotional margin of the Buddhist quadrant, and the devotional margin, the woman said, was not a metric subject to local interpretation. There was nothing to correct. Mira nodded. She went back to her desk. She kept reading the data incorrectly. Outside the hub, the fields ran toward the horizon in pale, dusty strips. The rains had been wrong for 9 years. Orbital models said they would be wrong for 11 more, then recover. The models had said this for 4 years. Mira did not know anyone who believed the second half. At night, overhead, you could see the stars, 4 of them, unhurried, tracing slow parallel arcs. Catholic, Islamic, Buddhist, atheist. 4 philosophies that could not agree on the ground and agreed, after the long fires, to leave. Each took a quarter of the planet's people. They governed from above, where the air was thin and neutral, and nothing caught on fire. The treaties had been called a miracle. Mira's grandmother had been alive for the signing. She remembered it as the last time anyone seemed relieved. Mira worked under the Buddhist Star. The reports were beautiful. The boy had been 7 when they told him who he was. They told him at the small shrine behind the house, on a cushion prepared for him without his noticing. They said he had been recognized, that he was the return of a teacher, that he had been hidden here, in this village at the cracked edge of the plateau, because being recognized and being safe were 2 different things in this century. He listened. He did not cry. After a long pause, he asked whether he was still allowed to play with the dog. They said yes. There were years after this, years he would later struggle to remember in any order, during which he became a person in the village, and also a person the village did not quite see. A boy who ate the same dale and walked the same road, and was held, at a subtle and constant distance, by the attention of 3 old people who had agreed, without ever saying so to one another, that their job was not to teach him what he was, but to make sure he was allowed to not yet know. They taught him what they could, not the full curriculum. The Star had observers. If he learned too much, too visibly, they would take him, not with violence, with recognition. They would put him in robes, put him on a dais, print his face on reports, and he would never again make a decision that was not first a symbol. So they taught him slowly. He read. He walked. He did small work with his hands. He was not told he was holy. He was told he was responsible. By the time he was 19, he had learned on his own to read the flows. It had started with a harvest. The village's grain allotment that year was what it had been the year before, which was what it had been the year before that, which was what it had been the year the rains were good. He asked one of the caretakers. The caretaker told him the allotments were set by the wheel, and the wheel had its reasons, and questioning those reasons was a form of attachment. He thought about this for some time. Then he went to the district archive and asked to see the ledgers. The clerk had been surprised. No one came to the archive. The clerk showed him how to read the entries. Energy in, energy out, labor assigned, labor consumed, grain promised, grain delivered. The numbers were public. No one looked. He looked. He saw that the village's grain was recorded as shipped in full, and that a portion of it, small, precise, almost tasteful, was diverted upward, toward the Star. toward rituals, toward objects he did not yet have names for. The diversion was called a devotional offering. It had been consented to, in aggregate, by a body of regional representatives, none of whom lived in the village. He sat with the ledger for a long time. He was not angry. He had been trained out of anger as other children are trained out of biting, but he felt for the first time a precise attention that was not calm. He began to follow the flows. They led him to objects he could not at first believe were objects. Ritual artifacts, produced at the Star, served in private rooms to small numbers of people. He read the production schedules. He read the provenance manifests. Most bored him. One did not. It was a flower. It was served in a glass. The image in the manifest, low resolution, badly lit, showed it opening in pale wine, petals catching light. He read the description twice. He looked at the image for longer than he should have. He noticed that he had noticed. He sat with it. He asked himself whether he would eat it if it were set in front of him. He answered honestly. Then he closed the file. And he was 23 when he went up. The caretakers did not stop him. The oldest of them, the one who had first told him who he was, walked him to the Valley Transit Station. She pressed a folded cloth into his hand. Kelsang. He looked at her. Do not let them make you beautiful. He nodded. He did not promise. The ascent took 3 days. He watched the earth narrow. The cities resolved into points. The points into the faint circuitry of the night side, and the dark places between them were larger than he had expected. He saw the weather systems from above. They looked manageable. This is how it starts, he thought. The Buddhist Star received him without ceremony. He understood this immediately. He was not announced. His papers named him as a minor ecclesiastical visitor from the plateau. He was fed. He was shown to a room. He was told that the representative of the wheel would see him the following day at a private meal because the representative had heard he was interesting. He did not sleep well. He thought in the dark about the caretaker's words. He thought about whether what he was going to do was correct or merely satisfying. He thought about the village and about the ledger and about the grain. He thought, if I change this here, what breaks elsewhere? He did not have an answer. He went anyway. The lotus opened as they began speaking. No one announced it. It was simply part of the room, like gravity or expectation. Petals unfolded in perfect symmetry, each layer thinner than the last, each catching the station's light and bending it toward softness. The bubbles rose in measured intervals as if calibrated. He watched it, not with curiosity, with recognition. It was more beautiful than the manifest image had suggested. He noticed this. He noticed also that he wanted to taste it. He sat with the wanting until it became a fact he could observe. Then he set it down. Across from him, the man who spoke for the wheel did not touch his own glass. The representative was older than he had expected, kinder looking, with the careful face of someone who had spent his life making other people feel welcome. His robes were simple, his voice was low. He had been chosen for this meeting, the young man thought, because nothing about him was easy to hate. You understand what this is, the representative said. It was not a question. He nodded. A teaching, a small smile, relief almost. Yes. The petals continued to open. He reached, not for the glass, but into the air beside it. The room hesitated. A lattice of light appeared, thin as breath. Lines spread outward from the lotus, branching into systems, then into smaller decisions, then into things no one in the room had ever chosen to see at once. Energy allocations, labor chains, deferred shipments, red nodes, patient and persistent. He turned the structure slightly. The lotus brightened, not as an object, but as a cost. No one spoke. You have done this very well, he said. The representative inclined his head. The fermentation alone, the young man continued, requires a controlled environment maintained by workers in the southern ring. Their shifts have been extended to accommodate the ritual calendar. 3 of them have filed for medical review this quarter. The reviews have been deferred. The deferrals are processed by a system that flags them correctly as concerning and routes them to a council that has not met in 6 months. He paused. The council has not met. he said, because its chair is preparing this meal. The representative's smile did not move. The flowers are grown in a facility that draws from an aquifer whose depletion schedule was classified 11 years ago. The classification was renewed last spring. It will be renewed again. The renewal is a function of the ritual calendar. The renewal is now, in effect, part of the teaching. He turned the lattice. More red. And the grain that fed the workers, the grain that was recorded as shipped, the grain that came from a village I know very well. The representative opened his mouth. You have made something that behaves like truth. The smile failed, but the representative did not look away. Do you know why the wheel exists? The young man did not answer. Because nothing else worked. The system you prefer, local, present, responsive, was the system when the fires came. I was a child then. I watched a village choose, locally and with full presence, which of its neighbors to starve. We did not go up because we were wise. We went up because we could not bear ourselves any longer. The lotus continued to open. We are not good here. We are not even careful by your measure, but we are not that. You have read the flows, he said. Then you know they do not stop at this glass. Change the grain here. Tell me what stops. 3 districts over, that you are not looking at. A pause. You don't know. You came up here certain, and you don't know. The young man sat with this. He did not dismiss it. He did not take it either. He held it the way he had held the lotus, the way he had held the wanting. He did not have an answer. Then he said, No, I don't know what breaks. He did not raise his voice. Neither do you. The difference is that you decided not to find out and served the not finding out in a glass and called it a teaching. Below the lotus, the red nodes expanded. Not dramatically, just enough. He did not point to them. There are people below this orbit, he said, who do not need a lesson in impermanence. A pause. They are living it. The outer petals began to fail, structure softening into liquid. You have taken a symbol of awakening, he said, and made it require maintenance. Now the room understood. Too late. You have mistaken care for correctness. The lotus collapsed. No one reached for it. He was removed from the star 3 days later. It was not called removal. He was given a packet of documents, a recommendation, and a seat on a transport back to the plateau. He was told, with great warmth, that his perspective was valued and that a longer residency might be considered at some future date. He was told that the wheel had listened. He was told that the wheel always listened. He thanked them. He was also told, less warmly, that a statement had been prepared on his behalf. The statement clarified that his remarks had been the observations of a junior ecclesiastical visitor and should not be read as doctrinally valid. The statement emphasized the wheel's ongoing commitment to the welfare of the terrestrial population. The statement thanked him, by name, for his contributions to the discourse. He read it. He did not sign it. They released it anyway. On the way down, he watched the lattice rebuild itself in his mind. He watched the representative's face. He thought about what the caretaker had said. Do not let them make you beautiful. They had already tried. The statement was the attempt. Its release was the attempt. Even his expulsion was an attempt. He was becoming a story the wheel could tell about itself. We listened. We considered. We returned him gently to the soil from which he came. They would tell this story for a while. He would let them. He was also carrying the representative's words. The fires, the child, the village choosing whom to starve. He did not know yet what to do with them. He suspected he would not know for a long time. He closed his eyes. He slept the rest of the way down. Mira was not at the hub the day the stranger arrived. She was out in the eastern fields, where a routing dispute had escalated into what her supervisor called a community communication event, and everyone else called a fight. 2 villages were disagreeing about a water share. The share had been set by the Star 3 years earlier. It had stopped making sense 2 years after that. Everyone knew this. No one knew what to do about it. The stranger was already at the well. He was younger than she expected, for someone everyone called a priest. He wasn't wearing robes. He wore a plain coat, the kind from the plateau. He stood beside the well with one hand on the housing, listening, while two of the older farmers yelled at him. He was nodding. When they finished, he said something Mira did not catch. The farmers stopped yelling. They looked at each other. They looked at the well. He said something else. He pointed, not at either of them, but at the ground between their feet. One of the farmers laughed, short, surprised, as if he had forgotten why he was angry. Mira watched from the edge of the field. Later, trying to describe the afternoon to her daughter, she would not be able to. She would not remember what he had said. She would remember only that he had not spoken like a priest. He had not spoken like any of the voices that came down from the star at the beginnings and endings of the seasons. He had spoken, she thought, like someone who was already listening. By evening, the two villages had agreed to a different share. The agreement was not announced. It was not signed. It was not entered into any star ledger. It did not appear that quarter on any flow map produced by the wheel, and it would never appear, for as long as such maps were produced, on any of them. One village began drawing less at noon. The other drew less at dusk. The well, which had been falling, stopped falling. Mira did not know yet that the shares would be rewritten that week. She did not know that the rewriting would not be announced, would not be signed, would not be entered. She did not know that 6 months later, the hub's anomaly reports would decrease, and that a year after that, her compliance officer would stop visiting, and that 2 years after that, the compliance office itself would be reorganized into something smaller and less certain of its mandate. She only knew that afternoon that two men who had been about to hit each other were looking at a piece of ground, and that the stranger was already walking away. She went home and looked at the sky. The stars were there, all 4 of them, unhurried. She thought about telling her daughter about the stranger. She decided not to. She thought about writing it down. She decided not to. She ate her dinner. She slept. In the morning, the numbers on her ledger were what they had been the day before. Nothing had officially changed. 3 days later, an anomaly flag appeared on her queue. It was the water share adjustment, the one the two villages had agreed to at the well. The system had caught it automatically. The flag was correct. By every measure the star recognized, it was her job to file it. She looked at it for a long time. Then she closed it. She did not file it. She did not explain why. She moved to the next entry and kept working. Her hands were steady. This surprised her a little. She had expected, at some point in the previous 3 days, to feel afraid. She did not feel afraid. She felt, for the first time in 11 years, that she was reading the numbers correctly, and that reading them correctly was no longer the same thing as reporting what they said. A week after the well, a man came to find him. The man had walked 2 days. He was from a village on the eastern edge of the salt flats. He asked Kelsang to come. He had a dispute. "Can you describe it?" The man described it. A grain allocation, 2 families, the usual shape. Kelsang listened. Then he said, "You could decide this yourselves." "We tried." "Try again." The man was quiet. Then, "It is easier when you come." Yes, that is the problem. He went anyway. He did not want to. He went because the man had walked 2 days, and he was not yet ready to be someone who could let that happen. He noticed this. He noticed that he was making the same mistake, at a smaller scale, that he had accused the wheel of making. He went anyway. 3 months later, the dispute returned. He did not go the second time. The families resolved it. Not well. One of them felt, for years, that it had gone badly, but they resolved it. This was the ugliest part of the work. It was not always better. When it failed, the failure was close enough to touch. When the star had failed, the failure had been an entry in a report. He wrote this down once and destroyed the page. He had not yet decided whether it was a thing to say. It spread unevenly, not all at once, not from any one place. A granary in the north began issuing grain on a different schedule than the one it was sent. The discrepancy was small. It was reported, reviewed, filed, into a queue that had once been read weekly and was now read quarterly. By the time it was read, it was no longer a discrepancy. The schedule had become the schedule everyone used. A medical review in the South returned to session. Its chair, a thoughtful woman who had once coordinated ritual logistics, resigned one of her posts to make time. No one at the Star objected. Her resignation letter thanked the wheel for its patience. The letter was beautiful. It was entered into the record. The first patient the reconvened council cleared was a shift worker from the Southern Ring, one of 3 who had filed for medical review the previous quarter. He had been waiting 7 months. He did not know why the wait had ended. He went home to his family and did not ask. An aquifer renewal came up for classification and was, for the first time in 11 years, declassified. The declassification was narrow and technical. It changed very little. It changed enough. And at the edge of the plateau, a young man who was no longer quite young was teaching another young man how to read a ledger. He was not teaching him what to do about what he found. He had come to believe this part could not be taught. He was only teaching him how to look. "This one," the student said, frowning at a column. "It balances, but I don't." "Yes." "You feel it?" "Yes." The old man nodded. "Good." The other stars noticed, late and in the wrong terms. The Catholic Star convened a commission and produced, 18 months later, a document that recommended further study. The Islamic Star adjusted 2 of its distribution algorithms without saying why. The Atheist Star ran the numbers and found that the numbers did not care what one called them. They tried to reproduce the method. They could not. Their systems required structure. Their systems required predictability. What was happening required presence and judgment and refusal. It did not scale. It only spread. The Buddhist Star tried to absorb what had happened. It explained it. It explained that the young man had been an important interlocutor. It explained that his insights had been integrated into ongoing processes of doctrinal review. It explained that the wheel's commitment to terrestrial welfare had been, throughout, its highest priority. It produced a short documentary. It produced a longer report. It scheduled a symposium. No one attended the symposium. No one had been told not to attend. No one had been told to attend either. The symposium was rescheduled, then rescheduled again, then did not happen. The Prosecco Lotus is still served on the Buddhist Star. The facility is smaller now. The aquifer beneath it is monitored, at last, by people allowed to say what they find. The flowers are presented at the same meals. The representative who sat across from the young man that night retired with honors. His successor has spoken movingly, on several occasions, about the importance of dialogue with terrestrial voices. The lotus still opens in perfect symmetry. The bubbles rise at measured intervals. No one watches it bloom. They eat, they speak, they conclude the meal. The petals collapse into the glass, as they were designed to, and the glass is taken away, as it was designed to be, and the next meal is prepared. No one has ordered it removed. No one has ordered it served. It remains, a word in a language no one speaks. On Earth, at the cracked edge of the plateau, an old man is walking home from a field. He is not recognized. He is not photographed. He is not, as far as any station ledger can determine, any particular person at all. He is a name in a village registry, an entry in a quarterly flow report, and he is, tonight, tired. Above him, the stars trace their slow parallel arcs. Catholic, Islamic, Buddhist, atheist. 4 philosophies that once agreed on nothing and now agree on one thing, that a pattern of change is spreading across the planet that none of their models predicted, that none of them can absorb, that none of them can call a threat. They have begun to adjust. They are adjusting more quickly than they admit. In the archive of the district where Mira works, there is a ledger entry from the afternoon of the water dispute. It records a routine allocation adjustment of no particular significance. It is signed by no one. It has never been flagged. It balances perfectly, and underneath it, if you know how to look, 2 villages are drinking.
This episode is a work of fiction and commentary. Any resemblance to real orbital theocracies, real water share disputes, or a real Prosecco Lotus served at a meal you were not important enough to attend is coincidental and falls well within the devotional margin. No aquifers were declassified in the making of this transmission. No symposium was held. No one attended the symposium that was not held. The Prosecco Lotus is not a real beverage and should not be attempted at home, on a star, or in orbit. Ame's tofu, however, is real and is better for you than anything the wheel will ever serve in a glass. Eat the tofu. Read the ledger. Question the devotional margin. File all forms in triplicate. Always know where your oxygen tank is at. This is Vicious Planets.